Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buffalo Sports Center, episode 16. Buffalo Talk Center, the podcast. We are recording this about 10 minutes after the conclusion to the week one Bills Ravens Sunday night football thriller. The Bills overcame a 15-point comeback in the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter and snatch from the jaws of defeat a victory against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Cal, revenge, they said?
Yeah, I was hearing mid-game that this is the new team to beat in the AFC. Everything looked good for the Ravens, and all of a sudden, this Bills team, they took the handcuffs off Josh Allen. I got a plethora of things to say about the coaching in this game. I'm not too pleased with that whatsoever, but let's start with the positives. Matt Prater, hello. It comes out of nowhere, replaces Tyler Bass after Bass's injury. And he didn't have any difficult kicks, but I mean the pressure was immense on that last one, and he was perfect today. The Bills receivers, the new guys finally started showing up towards the end of that game. The D line started to get through. They started to figure out what defense meant at the end of that game, which was something that they really weren't doing in the first half of that game. Big fumble there. I mean, I'm sure we'll go, step by step to walk through this game later on. But key points for me, I mean, just the fight of these guys, right? Most teams in the league quit at a certain point, but you got Josh Allen. You got the best quarterback in the league. I'm saying that after tonight, and I'm not saying it with any regrets. Best quarterback in the league by far. And this team just absolutely bought in. They kept playing, kept giving it their all. And sometimes things like that just happen. And, I don't want to slap a Chiefs logo over my Bills logo back there, but that looked like a Kansas City Chiefs game, right? The tip ball, the Coleman in the end zone, everything that could go wrong for the Ravens did go wrong at the end of the game. Somehow, some way, the Bills win this one.
Absolutely. Good teams find a way to win, right? That's always been the mentality of this team under Sean McDermott. It hasn't been pretty. Tonight was far from it. There are a lot of problems currently on the Bills defense right now. But for this moment, for our sake, we just gotta revel, bask in this glory because how many times have the Bills been on the wrong ends of these sorts of games, Cal?
Oh, every time. Every time. I mean, again, I'm fully expecting there you score the final touchdown of the game, and all of a sudden you don't get the 2-point conversion, which we'll get into that later too. 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions,
Yep.
zero plan on any of them. You miss that one, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, there we go. I was brought back in, I was brought back in, and all of a sudden I'm gonna lay down in my bed tonight and not fall asleep because I'm gonna be so disgusted. And I know it's a regular season game, but this is a big one. This is a big one for
Huge.
seeding wise, for the tiebreaker, for all that. And to get this win, this could completely save the season.
Yep.
As crazy as it is to say in week one, knowing you can come back from anything at week one, that's huge. That's a huge vote of confidence for everyone on the roster.
The only concern with that, the way in which this all came about, right? It took everything from this team. You just don't want this to be your Super Bowl, right? You don't want this to
Yeah.
be, oh, this is the climax of the season. Everything just kind of peters out. And that's a troubling sign because this is week one. You still have 17 more games to go. But Josh Allen said in the post-game interview with the sideline reporter, 1-0, baby. 1-0. They just move on to the next. That's the mentality of this team. You compartmentalize everything. And to them, this was just another win. But really, this was not just another win. This was Josh Allen showing the country why he's the MVP from 2024. For everyone that is doubting him, that's saying Lamar was better, Lamar is great. Don't get me wrong. Don't get us wrong. I think, Kel, you would agree with this. Lamar is
Mm.
tied for first, if not second, in terms of best quarterback in the NFL. Josh and Lamar have been neck and neck, going, one goes in front of the other. They just sort of ping pong, uh, you know. But if you had any doubts as to why Josh Allen is even in that conversation, look at tonight. Look at that fourth quarter will, the drive. He put this team on his back. He went full Superman again, and he showed all the doubters wrong once more.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people shut their TVs off during this game. I don't know what it looked like at the stadium, if anyone left,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to know as a Bills fan to not shut that TV off, to not give up until the Bills are completely out of the game. Because I kept saying, I mean, we're streaming these games, every game on YouTube, and I kept saying, it's not over yet. It's a 15-point game. You got to score quick, which The Bills in this offense, and this has been a thing since Josh Allen got here, he plays well under pressure. He plays even better when in a tempo offense. When they're moving quick, the Bills are finding those zones. They play good, right? And
Right.
I kept saying the Ravens kept scoring in like 2 minutes. You'd have a third down, they'd get it, and all of a sudden Derrick Henry 50-yard touchdown, Derrick Henry 20-yard touchdown. I kept saying this is perfect. That gets the Bills offense back out there. You redo it. If you're not going to stop them on the first time, might as well let them score and let the Bills score right back. The Ravens have a very good defense too, and a lot of people are sleeping on this defense. Oh, they have bad depth in the secondary. They don't have. This is a really good defense. Again, Kyle Hamilton, one of the best safeties in the league. You have Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Van Noy, a very good defensive line as well. A very, very good defense. And the Bills were able to just take advantage of everything towards the end of that game. I was speechless from the moment the Bills, got that ball back, and then that drive again. You just like these guys that were invisible all game: Coleman, Palmer, Elijah Moore, Shakir. They're just wide open when it matters, and that is a huge bright spot. Again, if the Bills lose this game, we're coming at you with completely different takes. But
Mm-hmm.
those last couple of drives completely saved the narratives on social media this week. And that's huge for these players because if you're a guy like Josh Palmer and you see after your week one game, everyone like, oh, this guy's a waste, whatever, that's going to, take a hit on your morale, whether he wants to admit it or not. But had a couple huge catches towards the end of that game. Could be season changing. It's week one, but could be.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Um, it was definitely it was a very different game. 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter versus 6 minutes ago in that fourth quarter. I want to keep praising the Bills first before we get on into the Bills defense because,
Yeah.
good Lord, oh my goodness, there are so many problems with that Bobby Babbage and Sean McDermott are currently facing right now. But this just shows once again why the Bills are a top two team in the AFC. I know people are going to be saying, look, the Chiefs, they're not gone. They are still there. They're still one of the best. Don't get me wrong, yes, that's true. They are a top three team. And after this week, they are very firmly that third team at best. At best. You cannot put them
Mhm.
over the Ravens or the Bills. That is just not, that's not true
Mhm.
whatsoever. The Bills, their run game wasn't spectacular tonight, but my
Mhm.
gosh, Josh Allen was showing everyone why everybody eats does work. Keon Coleman was showing some talent on those contested catches. You criticize. I don't know what the social media narrative was on Josh Palmer in the first three quarters. I thought he
Mhm.
had a good game throughout the entirety of the
Mhm.
match. I thought he was doing great on these contested balls, and anytime something was thrown to him, he was there. He was
Mhm.
reliable. Khalil Shakir, we know the deal with him. He's always great. I love Shakir.
Yeah.
He's my favorite
Oh
player
yeah.
right now on the Bills. Dalton Kincaid, though, Cal. Dalton Kincaid
Yeah.
had a very good game. Finally healthy. That knee looks like it's not bothering him quite like it was last season. What did you think about Kincaid's game?
Let's just talk about the tight ends in general. Kincaid, phenomenal game, minus that bogus tight end screen that they tried. Can we stop with the wide receiver screens and tight end screens? Please stop. It wasted plays. Again, Allen can do everything except the wide receiver screen throw. Arm doesn't move like that. Stop it. But Kincaid, absolutely great game. A huge step in his recovery process. Again, a lot of these guys were fired on the strength and conditioning staff solely because how they handled Kincaid's injury. I don't think a lot of people know that. So take his season last year, slash it out, brand new start. Dawson Knox, he had a good game too. How about Jackson Hawes out of nowhere? His
Huge
first
catch.
NFL catch, like a 30-yard catch, and he gets down at the one. He juggled it all the way down, but he held on to it, didn't drop it. Another play where if he drops that's a pivotal play in his NFL career. That could be, oh, he's done. That could have been his one play in the NFL, and oh, you're back to a blocking tight end. You're never touching the football. He
Hmm.
comes down with that. All of a sudden, I mean, he's a threat in the passing game. Just a phenomenal game from all the tight ends. Let's talk about the O line a little bit. I thought they did a fantastic job giving
Oh,
Josh
yeah.
Allen plenty of time, especially towards the end of that game. Shout out to the offensive line. Not many holding calls. When there was a holding call, like the Deion Dawkins one, it was simply to bail out Ray Davis, who, again, running backs didn't have a good game, but the running backs really just got the ball and they froze today. They didn't take the short, straight narrow pass to get those quick yardage situations. They just, especially Ray Davis. I don't want to get too concerned about him. It's one game, but it's the same thing he did in the preseason. Now into this, he seems to be a step short. The confidence might not be there. We'll give him more time. Cook looked all right, had that really good screen catch where he broke it all the way down there. And I'm watching the highlights in the background now. It just, again, just play after play after play. I mean, is this the top Bills game in the last like decade? Is this the top Bills game? I know they've had some playoff games that mean more the wins, but the way they won this one, where are we ranking this in Bills wins all time? Where are we ranking this in the last decade? I don't know
So
where we're putting this, but do you have any idea?
no, it's up there for sure. It's up there. I don't know if it can go above, say, the Bills Ravens playoff game because playoff games just have that more,
Hmm.
much far more
Yeah,
inherent value than a game like this. Even though we lost, I still think the 13 seconds is the best Bills game of the last decade.
yeah,
It's
for
rough,
sure.
but it
Big
just
game, Gabe.
big game Gabe. Where
Big
is he coming
game
back? Is he
coming
coming
back.
back? Maybe. I
Terrell
don't,
Shavers didn't do anything today. I don't know.
he was in for some blocking sets at the beginning of the
Yeah,
game for those tight end and wide receiver screens that you just scorned and disavowed. Yeah, he was in for
yeah,
those.
yep,
But go heart piggybacking off your O line point, you were right. Fantastic game. It got a little hectic with about 11 minutes to go in the fourth there. There was a few false starts. Deion Dawkins,
yep.
Chris Collinsworth mentioned on the broadcast that Josh Allen got a little excited and that got Deion Dawkins little moving a little bit.
Stepped up
Uh,
and yeah,
yeah, and then he pointed to the defense like they did something. Um, but other than that, I mean, Josh Allen, he was under a lot of pressure. He was able to get out of it, but I think the Ravens only had probably less than 15. I'd say closer to 10 pressures all tonight. And two sacks, one sack? I'm not looking at the box score in front of me, so I'm sure someone will fact
yeah,
check me in the comment section. But overall, it was a great night. But
yeah.
Cal, I think it's time. We've been talking about a lot of the positives, and we are both very
Mhm.
excited right now, folks. This is
Yeah.
again a great game, but we have to talk about that defense.
Mhm.
I'll let you, Cal, just go take it away from
All right.
there.
Yeah. Again, positives. You win the game. Bad news is it's 41-40 in week one. Again, usually defenses are ahead of the offense to get going. And it takes a miraculous comeback to win it. So let's start talking about the run defense because it's Derrick Henry, it's Lamar Jackson. Those are two. I'm not calling Lamar Jackson a running back, but he's just as good of a running back as he is a quarterback. He's a phenomenal player. Let's call him a running back for now. He's one of the best in the league if he's a running back. And there's Derrick Henry back there. Good
Mhm.
luck if you're any defense stopping those two. So I'll give him a slight pass, but it's nowhere near as improved as it needs to be. Shout out Ed Oliver, though. What a crazy game from Ed Oliver. Forced the fumble, but even before that, couple big blowups in the backfield. We saw a couple times where they had Lamar in trouble, and that one time where Bosa and Russo dove, which you can't do. That's a cardinal sin. Just box him out, bring him to the corner. You're bigger than him. Put your hands up. Instead, they dive. They give them that. It reminded me of that Texans wild card game back in the day where Deshaun Watson did the same thing to us, where we had him dead to rights, and he gets the first down, and they win the game. I thought the game was over there. It's not good in the secondary either. The Bishop blitz on a play where he was standing about 50 yards away from the play. That let Zay Flowers get a massive gain. So a lot of discombobulation on the defense, but they came up clutch and they ended this game good with back-to-back huge stops to give the offense a chance to win this game. And even if the offense doesn't win this game, I'm still going to say that. Like the defense ended this game on a good part. Hopefully they could transition and play. They got a tough task next week too with the Jets. I didn't think I was going to say that, but the Jets looked really good against the Steelers today or yesterday, whenever this comes out. They looked really good and they lost, but they have a very solid offense. The defense, not so much. It looks like
Yeah,
right now they let Aaron Rodgers score 4 touchdowns on them, but they look like a very competent offense. Justin Fields. So we'll see what this defense can do. I'm going to give them a slight pass. It's Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. Not not too much in the pass game. I get it, but Zay Flowers ate them up a little too much. What do you think? Are you giving him a pass like me, like a slight pass, like half a pass, maybe?
not even half a pass. This was unacceptable.
Yeah.
They looked unprepared. They were. I'm gonna tear
Mhm.
into them because the defense. You cannot give up
I
40
I
points
don't
on
blame you. I don't blame you.
home turf. This game were not for Josh Allen.
Mhm.
This entire podcast would be us railing on the defense. That's just a simple
Oh
fact.
yeah. Mhm.
We would. That would be
Mhm.
the only thing the social media is talking about. Sean McDermott, people were calling for him to get fired halfway through this game. There is not, it's not even just impulsiveness anymore. It's because this team, in the biggest of games, the defense disappears. And were not to be for Josh Allen, the Bills wouldn't be a far different team. Far different. Even if we had a guy like Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts, we would not be
Mhm.
as successful and we would not be getting wins like tonight. And it's because the defense was totally discombobulated, as you mentioned. Joey Bosa, he has some really terrible rookie mistakes. Keep your edge integrity on some of these runs with or Lamar Jackson because he cuts in, he cheats on the inside, thinks that Justice Hill is going to get the ball. Lamar keeps it and rolls to the outside and picks up a nice 20 yards. Easy as that. You cannot be doing stuff like that. As far as the cornerbacks, we knew that the cornerback position was very thin, especially with Tre'Davious White, Maxwell Hairston, both out. Maxwell Hairston will be out for the next 3 games following this Ravens one. But they still just looked like a step behind. D Hop was cooking Dorian Strong, which cannot happen. That cannot happen. And I say this as everything freezes. So, Cal, I hope you hear this. I think everyone else is hearing this right now, but Cal is definitely not hearing this. He is just completely frozen. Why? Because my internet's just rough. He's not coming back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may have just noticed that I cut off. I mentioned my internet connection. Well, it did crash last night. I'm recording this now the next day. You obviously won't be seeing this until, well, chances are at this point, it'll not be until Tuesday when you hear and see and watch this episode of Buffalo Talk Center, which is frustrating because we always have tried to pump them out on Mondays, and obviously this is Tuesday, so we're a day late, but rather get it out better than have a half-assed quality. But what happened was my internet died. Cal's obviously not here. He is busy currently. So for the final few minutes of this podcast, you will just be listening to me. And what I was talking about, though, before everything went haywire, it was midnight. My brain was frazzled. My thoughts were all scattered. I've had some time to think. And I want to build upon the point that I was making about Dorian Strong and overall just the defense and the secondary in general. The Dorian Strong, I thought, was very, like many guys on that defensive unit, had a pretty poor game. He is a 6th-round rookie, and his first game ever was prime time, lined up against arguably the best offense in the NFL. That is certainly a difficult task for anyone to try to make their debut against. And, well, Dorian Strong, he got lit up by D Hop, a carcass, a fossil named DeAndre Hopkins. This is not the first time, of course, that DeAndre Hopkins has killed the Bills, and he nearly did last night, or, well, 2 nights by the time you watch this. But he nearly did, but I thought the Bills on defense and the secondary was just awful. They need to get better. The situational awareness has to be better. The 20-yard blitz, safety blitzes coming from Cole Bishop, like I mentioned before in the last part with Cal, it has to stop. Taylor Rapp needs to be better at taking better angles. Joey Bosa needs to take better angles and contain the quarterback within the pocket and not let him get loose. Because, folks, next week, Justin Fields will face this Bills defense. And what does Justin Fields like to do? Run the football. That is certainly what he did against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as a result, that Jets offense looked 10 billion times better than last season. And, 2 seasons before that. And come to think of it, ever. But back to my point, the Bills defense just needs to reset. They got lucky. They gave up 40 points. Usually when, as a defense, you give up 40 points, your team loses the game. Were it not for Josh Allen, this team would be in a far different, and the fan base would be in a far different headspace going into this week. There would be no Victory Monday, of course, and this week would be spent talking about, hey, that was a really bruising, nasty, awful Week 1 loss. Things have got to get better. Well, look, the Bills did win, but again, things have to get better because playing that sort of hero ball, that miraculous comeback style games, obviously unsustainable. That is not going to work in January. That's not going to get you back to the Super Bowl. So the Bills overall just need to improve on that front for the offense, get the run game going again. Ty Johnson, I thought, had a very bad drop in the fourth quarter, uncharacteristically so. Butcher that word. Ray Davis was weirdly quiet. Didn't mention him too often on the broadcast. Cal didn't really bring him up at all. No one's talking about Ray Davis. It's only about James Cook. And that's, of course, because of his big reception. But Ray Davis definitely needs to have a more pronounced impact going forward. Keon Coleman was obviously a big question mark going into this game. And as I mentioned in the last part, pleasantly surprised. 112 yards in the day. Probably could have had 2 receiving touchdowns. The Bills obviously value his 50-50 ball winning skills. Didn't totally work out against the Ravens, but that's his role in this offense. We mentioned Dalton Kincaid, Kel and I, but yeah, a lot of positives to draw from on the offensive side. Defense, got to get better. And granted, you're not going to be facing a team like the Baltimore Ravens every week, but in January, when it really matters, that is exactly who you'll be facing. This team needs to beat teams like the Ravens again, the Chiefs, and whomever else the Bills may face in the postseason. But anyways, this 16th episode has been an episode from hell with internet crashings, the frazzled, dazed, confused thoughts that we had immediately after the Bills-Ravens game. That was interesting as well. So you guys will see this Tuesday. It will be late this week. It probably won't get the views, but if you're still listening to this, Buffalo Sports Center, Don, Kale, we appreciate you. And hopefully, cross my fingers, hopefully we can get an episode out next week, next Monday. All right? Thank you so much, folks, and goodbye.